Welcome to Inside the Summit League.
Hey, it's the Commissioner, Tom Duple, in Sioux Falls this week for the Summit League Basketball Championships, as the league will send the South Dakota women and the North Dakota State men to the NCAA tournament this year as our representatives, and joined by Brad Newitt, our basketball analyst, and somewhat new blood going to the NCAAs this year from the Summit.
Well, we saw some huge upsets on the women's side. South Dakota State's reign as champion comes to an end there. And on the men's side, North Dakota State, preseason pick, wins the regular season and the tournament.
And they had a battle with Fort Wayne as North Dakota State cuts down the nets here. But here's a little something to get you going again after all the excitement this week. And then we'll be back to run down the wild week that was in the Summit at the Falls.
For 7 teams from across the Midwest, all roads have led to this moment. Their journeys have been long, each step hard, each moment leading to the next. Moments of triumph, moments of loss, grinding, grueling, forging players into teams. And now, time grows short. For these 7 teams, there is just one moment yet to achieve. The ultimate moment. Being crowned a champion. Being invited to the dance. Now is the time. Time to soar. Time to show. Time to work. Time to win. Because losing means the moment is gone. Each player, each coach, each team knows the journey to the peak of this summit does not go up. To stand atop this league, you must first make it through the falls. Only then can you dance. Midcoast Sports Network presents the Summit League at the Falls. The moment is now.
This isn't an Epic Sports commercial.
There's no Hollywood director. There's no $1 million budget. There's no slow motion.
Or stadiums filled with crowds.
It's just us.
Us.
Real athletes.
Real athletes who want to get better, get stronger,
and make the starting lineup.
Be healthy and active.
And this is where we'll do it.
The Sanford Sports Complex, a game-changing destination. Learn more at sanfordsports.com.
So, how was the business meeting?
Business as usual. We went round and round about the same old things. Everyone always dances around the issues. No one ever wants to show their hand. So we had a bite to eat and came home early.
Need a place to live it up? Grand Falls Casino Resort is the place to live it up for a big night out, just a short drive away. Grand Falls Casino Resort.
Honda, you know there's been a lot of trash talk out there about us from our competition. But you know what the truth is. Honda has better safety. Honda has more standard features. Honda dominates with the best technology. Honda has better gas mileage. And to top it off, Honda has the best lease offers. Now, during the Spring Into a Honda sales event, we have an opportunity to take it to them and show them that Hondas are the best vehicles on the road today. Bring it in.
Let's go Honda! Let's go Honda! Yeah!
Inside the Summit League is brought to you by Sanford Health, Grand Falls Casino, and Dakota Land Honda. Welcome back to Inside the Summit League, and it came down, Brad, to the number 1 and the number 2 seeds in the tournament here for the men's basketball championship. Now, North Dakota State was picked to win the league, so no real surprise there. But Fort Wayne was picked to finish 6th overall. But was it really a shock that they got into this championship game?
I think maybe a surprise that they were able to finally defeat South Dakota State here in Sioux Falls, but you got to credit Fort Wayne. They had a fantastic regular season and followed it up with a solid postseason run as well.
And they might still have some more postseason ahead of them.
No doubt about it. With 24 wins, a school record, I think they'll have a good shot at something in the postseason.
All right, we'll get to the championship game in a moment, but first the path to this postseason party for the men's team. Here are the quarterfinals and the semifinal games. Just one game on Saturday this year And that was second seed Fort Wayne taking on the 7th seed IUPUI. Louis Jacobo had his best game of the tournament in this one, 19 points, 7 rebounds. Steve Forbes had 9 rebounds and was just messing on this possession. Miss, tap, tap, tap. Gets a rebound, misses again, taps that up and good. Forbes had 11 points on the night. Fort Wayne had 9 steals. They forced 16 turnovers. Look at Isaiah McCray at 6'0" get up. For IUPUI, Mitch Patton was a bright spot. 8 of 10 from the field. He led the Jags with 18 points, but not enough. Another steal by McCray. Ahead to Joe Edwards. Edwards had 10. Fort Wayne got a bunch from the bench in this game. And once more in transition for the Dons, Jacobo finishes it off, and Fort Wayne wins 85-47. 2 first-round games on Sunday. South Dakota and Denver up first. Denver made 10 threes, 2 of them by Jalen Love. He had a dozen points. Cam Griffin had no threes, but he had 8 points and 9 rebounds for Denver. For the Coyotes, Brandon Boss, pretty release from the corner. He led USD with 13. But Denver back cutting them up. Chris Udovi to Bryant Rucker. Hootie's kid had 14, and I'm totally making that up. This is true, though. Trevor Gruce took 6 shots. He made 5 of them, had 12, but it would be his final college game. Denver up 6 at the half. They pull away in the second half. Brett Olson was 4 of 7 on threes. He had 20 points and 5 assists. Denver eliminates South Dakota 71-55. And South Dakota State, the number 3 seed, taking on Western Illinois. The Jackrabbits beat them twice during the regular season. Got them again here. Michael Ocharobia had 10 points and 6 rebounds. Garrett Covington, named the newcomer of the year, led Western Illinois with 14. Marcus Heemstra, meanwhile, not the 6th man of the year, but he was the 6th man of the night. In this one, he had 10 points, all in the first half, to keep the Jackrabbits close in the first half. Chad White, 3rd on the all-time three-pointer made list at SDSU. He had 3 more in this one, but it was just a 3-point Jackrabbit lead at the half as Adam Link cuts and dunks there. So the Jacks up by 3, and much like their last regular season matchup, the Jackrabbits open up a second-half lead. Braden Carlson there, and then Zach Horseman on the inbound, and the Jackrabbits advance with a 71-50 win. So in the semifinals, North Dakota State, the number 1 seed, playing for the first time in 9 days, no problem. Taylor Braun. Shot clock winding down. Doesn't matter. Braun had 18 in just the first half. Horns, baby. Bison up 42-15 at halftime. NDSU banging on the window. Trayvon Wright tip in. NDSU up by 32. Cam Griffin led Denver with 13, but the Pioneers never really got anything going. And here is another wrong turned into a right. 12 for Trayvon Wright, 28 for Taylor Braun, and NDSU wallops Denver 83-48. In the other semi, South Dakota State looking like a rugby match for most of this one against Fort Wayne. Lots of bumping and grinding. Braden Carlson led SDSU with 19. Steve Forbes, though, 10 points, 8 rebounds for the Mastodons. And this was the man, though, 6th man of the year, Mo Evans. He had 6 threes, 5 of them in the first half, and Fort Wayne needed all of them. Pierre Bland made some tasty, timely shots. He had 12 points and 5 assists. And off of 1 of 18 SDSU turnovers here, Louis Jacobo with the finish. Even with all that, Jackrabbits down by 3 with 10 seconds left. They get a look in the corner, but not going to go, and Fort Wayne wins it by 4. Well, when we come back, the rundown on the showdown between North Dakota State and Fort Wayne. Some insight from Newitt and some Bison and Mastodons talking about it afterwards.
Since 1982, the Summit League has been achieving excellence. Beyond providing a quality education to more than 120,000 students, the league continues to strengthen its reputation of being nationally competitive in athletics. Today, more than 3,000 elite student athletes at 8 institutions embody the vision, purpose, and innovation the Summit League represents. These young men and women are reaching for the summit in both athletic and academic endeavors.
Honda, you know there's been a lot of trash talk out there about us from our competition. But you know what the truth is. Honda has better safety. Honda has more standard features. Honda dominates with the best technology. Honda has better gas mileage. And to top it off, Honda has the best lease offers. Now, during the Spring Into a Honda sales event, we have an opportunity to take it to them and show them that Hondas are the best vehicles on the road today. Bring it in.
Let's go Honda! Let's go Honda! Yeah!
Minutes east of Sioux Falls stands Grand Falls Casino Resort. A casino in a brand new way, where you can turn an evening into a winning night out. Spin a day off into a day of play. Who says life next door shouldn't be grand?
Rick Springfield returns with an intimate solo performance Saturday, March 29th at 8 p.m. Call, click, or visit for tickets.
Grand Falls Casino Resort, a brand new way to eat, play, and stay.
The great thing about snowboarding is the adventure. All day long, you're finding different ways of doing different things, and it's never the same. I don't mind snowboarding alone, but if you've got your friends up there on the mountain and you guys can all cruise down together, it's a really, really fun time. Snowboarding has been really fun and really rewarding for me, and I want it to be fun and rewarding for my customers as well. I'm Lindsay McKinstry, and I'm one of the snowboard experts at Shields.
Inside the Summit League is brought to you by Sanford Health, Grand Falls Casino, and Dakota Land Honda. Back at the Summit League Basketball Championships, and it came down to North Dakota State and IPFW in the men's final. As we get to the highlights here, Marshall Bjorklund, good start for North Dakota State. He had a couple of early field goals, but Fort Wayne came out and made its first 2 3-point shots. They led early. Trayvon Wright was spectacular for North Dakota State. An alley-oop here from Taylor Braun, but Fort Wayne up by 6 about midway through the first half.
Yeah, Tom. Fort Wayne came out with a lot of confidence and a lot of energy in this game. They were really shooting the ball well, and that's what led them to that early lead that they had.
Circus shot here by Pierre Bland to make it 24-20. Fort Wayne in the lead with about 7 minutes to go, but Trayvon Wright, a dunk at one end. He comes back with a block on Steve Forbes at the other end. NDSU within 1 at 28-27. Pierre Bland, though, comes back with a layup to put Fort Wayne in the lead by 5. And then Bland, an assist to Mike Kibalaski. And Fort Wayne's up by 7 with about a minute and a half left in the half. They lead by 5 at halftime because North Dakota State shot 27%.
And on the flip side, Fort Wayne was shooting 50%, Tom, and hit 5 threes, 5 of 10 from 3 in that first half, and out-rebounded the Bison by 9.
All right, get to the second half, and Jacobo to Forbes here, Steve Forbes to put Fort Wayne in the lead 37-30, but then Trayvon Wright got it going again. A dunk to cut the lead to 3, and then Wright in the lane on a tough shot to make it a 1-point Fort Wayne lead with about 12 minutes to play. And then Trayvon Wright again on a lay-in to give North Dakota State its first lead at 42-41, their first lead since it was 10-9.
Trayvon Wright was carrying North Dakota State. Really the only one that was scoring for them through much of that second half.
Both teams went for a stretch here without a field goal before Pierre Bland made a 3 to put Fort Wayne up by 3 with just over 4 minutes to go. It was tied at 51 with about 3 minutes to go, and then Taylor Braun took over at the end of the ball game. A 3 here to put NDSU in the lead by 1.
Well, in the first 37 minutes of the game, Tom, Taylor Braun was 2 of 11 and only had 7 points.
Braun came back with a drive to put NDSU in the lead 56-55 with a minute 18 left, and then his best drive, his best, craziest shot of the night, an and one here to put him up 59-55 with 12 seconds left.
And Braun scores 8 points in the last 2.5 minutes and wills his team to a huge win.
He ends up with 15. Trayvon Wright with 19. Bison win at 60-57, and here are the coaches and the kids afterwards.
Our team has always had a chip on our shoulder, and we worked extremely hard to get here. And I mean, it was only fitting that the game was the way it was. Nothing's ever came easy to us. So we've been through a lot of things like this, just coming up our whole lives. So it is a very fitting way to make it to the NCAA tournament.
My job is a blast, because I get to work with these guys, and all I want more than anything in the world is to see their hard work be rewarded. And Nobody gives that to you, not in Division I college athletics.
All right, so we wait for the selection show coming up this Sunday now, Brad, to see where North Dakota State is going to end up, what their seed will be. South Dakota State got a 13 seed last year after winning this tournament. What do you see coming up for the Bison as far as a seed?
Well, first of all, 25 wins. That's a huge feather in their cap, and they have a great RPI time. It was 37 coming into this championship game. They have some really quality non-conference wins, of course, beating Notre Dame on their home floor, and you got to think a 13 is a for sure, and a 12 is very likely.
All right, and I've thought for the last couple of weeks that NDSU's got a team that could be the first Summit League team to win an NCAA tournament game.
And I would agree with that because they're so solid on both ends of the floor. You got a team that's very efficient offensively and plays lockdown defense. They can score from all their positions, and they can defend at every position. So they're going to be a tough matchup for whoever ends up drawing them in the NCAA tournament.
All right, we will see what they get this Sunday. All right, there were some shocks and surprises in the women's tournament here in Sioux Falls. We have a first-time tournament winner, and we get to that next.
Honda, you know there's been a lot of trash talk out there about us from our competition. But you know what the truth is. Honda has better safety. Honda has more standard features. Honda dominates with the best technology. Honda has better gas mileage. And to top it off, Honda has the best lease offers. Now, during the Spring Into a Honda sales event, we have an opportunity to take it to them and show them that Hondas are the best vehicles on the road today. Bring it in.
Let's go Honda! Let's go Honda! Yeah!
These are places of excellence, where big efforts yield big results. The places where perfection is perfected, but without the players, without the performance. These are only places. The stage is set. Now, exceed yesterday. Choose Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Minutes east of Sioux Falls stands Grand Falls Casino Resort. A casino in a grand new way, where you can turn an evening into a winning night out. It's the Grand Falls Casino Resort $500,000 giveaway. Yeah, $500,000 between now and March 30th. Play your favorite games to earn entries. Entries are good for all 13 drawings. Then be here for the Sunday afternoon drawings for your chance at $500,000. Grand Falls Casino Resort, a grand new way to eat, play, and stay.
Inside the Summit League is brought to you by Sanford Health, Grand Falls Casino, and Dakota Land Honda. Welcome back as we wrap up the league basketball championships, and the Summit will send the University of South Dakota women to the NCAA tournament for the first time. And a little bit of a surprise, but is this a total stunner to you that the Coyote women won the tournament?
Stunner does not say the word, Tom.
Really?
Complete shock is the word I would use, because South Dakota State blasted through the regular season, went 13-1. They had won 15 straight games in this Summit League tournament. In South Dakota, you got to give them a ton of credit. They pulled off the huge upset in that semifinal game, got themselves into the final, and then won it.
All right, plenty of highlights and reaction from the championship game coming up. But first, a look at the first two rounds of play, including that last-second three-pointer for USD to beat Western Illinois in the first round against the Leathernecks. First up, first game of the tournament, the 2-seed IUPUI facing North Dakota State. The Jags get out to a big lead, but the Bison come back. Yara Goss had 25. Navina Markovic had 11 points and 10 rebounds for the 6'4" junior for IUPUI. For North Dakota State, Brooke Lamar in her first Summit League tournament, 16 points and 7 assists for Lamar, but Goss on the back cut. IUPUI up by 18 at halftime, 44-26. But second half, Morena Whittle trailing and stops for the three here. She had 14 points and 10 boards. Kayla Becken made 4 threes. She had 16 points. NDSU gets within 5 midway through the second half, but Dee Dee Bellamy had 3 steals, and IUPUI holds off NDSU 72-64. First round on Sunday was a barn burner between South Dakota and Western Illinois. 103 points total in the first half. Ashley Luke had 11 in the first 20 minutes, and she was just getting warmed up. Polly Harrington had herself a fine tournament. 13 points, 5 rebounds in this one. Sophie Reichelt came in and hit a couple of threes for Western Illinois, and they led 54-49 at the half. Second half, Kelly Stewart had 4 threes. For South Dakota, she had 14 points. Ashley Luke, though, was a beast. 35 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists. Western up by 8 with about 3 minutes to play, but Nicole Seekamp had 26. Cuts it to 6 right here. USD made 3 threes in the final 90 seconds, including this one coming up by Rachel Contreras with 3 seconds to play, and South Dakota wins 96-94 over Western Illinois. Last game on Sunday was the first ever tournament game in the Summit League for Denver, taking on Fort Wayne. Denver led the entire first half. Kaylee Edwards had 14. Paige Bradley, a sophomore point guard, was outstanding. 24 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists for Paige Bradley. Stephanie Mock will end up with 2 here for Fort Wayne, but Denver with a 7-point lead at halftime. Second half, player of the year, again, Amanda Hyde spinning and slicing, and Fort Wayne made a run to lead by 8, but Paige Bradley with another 3 and a 10-2 run for Denver. Pioneers back in front. Hyde crosses over twice there. She had 28, but Jordan Johnston had 9 in the last 5 minutes, and Denver, the 6th seed, knocks off Fort Wayne 79-73. So in the women's semifinals, Game 1, a rematch of last year's championship between South Dakota and South Dakota State, and this was all Coyotes from the get-go. Polly Harrington had 18. Nicole Seekamp had 19. USD up by 12 at halftime. South Dakota built the lead to 23. The Jackrabbits still down by 20 after a 3 by Megan Watashik midway through the second half. South Dakota State got within 11, but the Yotes regained control. Bridget Arns for 3, and the Coyotes knock off the Jackrabbits 72-58. The other semi, Denver doing it again against number 2 seed IUPUI. Desiree Hunter had a great tournament. She had 9 and 14. Davina Markovic had 15 and 10 for IUPUI. Second half there, though, De'Ara Goss got some jumpers to go. They go to overtime, tied at 63. Paige Bradley, great again. She had 14. Jordan Johnston added 15. She had 7 in the overtime, and Denver with its second straight upset to get them into the championship game. But when we come back, super sophomore Paige Bradley takes Denver into the title game against a very confident pack of Coyotes.
So, how was the business meeting?
Business as usual. We went round and round about the same old things. Everyone always dances around the issues. No one ever wants to show their hand. So we had a bite to eat and came home early.
Need a place to live it up? Grand Falls Casino Resort is the place to live it up for a big night out, just a short drive away. Grand Falls Casino Resort.
Honda, you know there's been a lot of trash talk out there about us from our competition. But you know what the truth is. Honda has better safety. Honda has more standard features. Honda dominates with the best technology. Honda has better gas mileage. And to top it off, Honda has the best lease offers. Now, during the Spring Into a Honda sales event, we have an opportunity to take it to them and show them that Hondas are the best vehicles on the road today. Bring it in.
Let's go Honda! Let's go Honda! Yeah!
This isn't an Epic Sports commercial.
There's no Hollywood director. There's no $1 million budget. There's no slow motion.
Or stadiums filled with crowds.
It's just us.
Us.
Real athletes.
Real athletes.
Who want to get better, get stronger,
and make the starting lineup.
Be healthy and active.
And this is where we'll do it.
The Sanford Sports Complex, a game-changing destination. Learn more at sanfordsports.com.
Inside the Summit League is brought to you by Sanford Health, Grand Falls Casino, and Dakota Land Honda. Well, the Summit League Basketball Championships will move to a new venue next year after a 6-year run here at the Sioux Falls Arena, Brad.
Yeah, Tom, it's literally just going to go down the hall through the Sioux Falls Convention Center, a brand new arena, 12,000 seat, and that's where we will be next March for this tournament.
All right, always something new, and including a new first-time tournament champion this year in women's basketball. And the final was the University of South Dakota taking on the University of Denver, and they traded leads early in the first half. Brad, Denver went ahead 17-10 on a 3 by Jordan Johnston about 12 12 minutes to go in the first half. Margaret McLeod scored 6 straight points for USD to make it a 1-point Denver lead at about 8:20 to play in the first half, but Denver right in it.
Denver right in it, and the pace of play was up and down, which was something both of these teams were very fine with.
Denver got a couple of buckets from Allison Janasek to go up by 3. Janasek had 10 points and 8 rebounds, but South Dakota grabbed the lead on a hoop by Bridget Arns. She was one of a trio off the bench who played very well for South Dakota, and the Coyotes had a lead 33-32 at the half.
Yeah, back and forth game. Like we expected, those teams had played close games against each other previously this year.
All right, Denver came out, regained the lead on baskets by Teresa Worth. She had 13 points, but Worth fouled out for the second straight game, fouled out early in this game.
And that was a huge thing for Denver because they lost an interior defender that could battle inside against USD.
Coyotes back in the lead by 5 on another hoop by Bridget Arns. Denver, though, comes back on a jumper by Kaylee Edwards to take the lead 55-54 with just under 9 minutes to play, but that would be the last time that Denver had the lead.
South Dakota exerted their will the rest of this game, led by their senior, Polly Harrington.
Harrington had 16 to lead the Yotes. She puts USD ahead by 4, and then Taylor Moore hits a jumper to put USD ahead by 10 with 3.5 minutes left, and South Dakota wins it 82-71. Desiree Hunter had 14 for Denver. Paige Bradley had 14 and 5 assists, but with Harrington and Nicole Seekamp, who had another great game, the Coyotes moving on to the NCAA tournament.
And I think their experience playing in last year's championship game, Tom, really helped them in this one. They were ready for the environment, they were ready for the big moment, and they really capitalized on it.
Harrington was named the most valuable player of the tournament, and here is the post-game reaction from the women's championship.
And I'm so proud of our team for staying focused and committed to what we needed to do, and I think, it would have been very, very easy to have a little bit of a letdown after the emotional game from yesterday, and just that first round game, the way that we had to come from way behind to win that one, and I'm just proud our kids stayed locked in and focused and committed and showed the grit that this team is made up of.
It's a great feeling. I just know that every senior at this level wants to be playing right now, and I feel like for me to be playing right now, it's just a blessing, and I'm so happy. I'm so proud of my teammates, my coaches, all the fans. Everybody's just been wonderful, and it's just a wonderful experience right now.
All right, the selection show for the women's tournament is coming up on Monday evening, and for the University of South Dakota, the automatic qualifier here, what do you see as far as a seed for them?
Well, first of all, fantastic accomplishment for USD making it into the NCAA tournament as the number 4 seed in the Summit League. But a 19-13 record, Tom, is going to be tough for them to get a high seed. They don't have any real quality non-conference wins, so I think they're probably looking at something around a 15 seed.
All right, South Dakota State, by the way, the 5-time defending champions, not going to the NCAAs, but they've got a bid to the NIT tournament on the women's side.
That is guaranteed because they won the regular season championship. And, Tom, they also have an excellent chance of hosting a first-round game, which would be huge for them.
All right, we shall see. But congratulations once again. Best wishes to the South Dakota women, the North Dakota State men, as they move on to their respective big dances, Brad.
And time for them to represent the Summit League. Of course, we wish them well, and it'd be great to see them pull off some upsets and represent the Summit League well on a national stage.
All right, that's it from the Summit at the Falls. We'll see you next week on Inside the Summit League.